Hello my friends and welcome back to Kev's Hobby Showcase. I'm of course Kevin. You may have also seen me on Tabletop Jones Productions where John and I are the two idiots playing board games. And just a brief recap. Last week I recorded myself making Big Ziti and that seemed to be quite the hit. I mean, I've gotten a lot of views, unfortunately not more subscribers, but quite a bit of views. I will be doing cooking videos at least once a month. As a matter of fact, the next one might be chili. But anyway, so today I'm going to be painting minis from the game Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we got the character pack of Gwenom, which basically is yet another iteration of Marvel Comics' obsession with the character Gwen Stacy and trying to insert her into every aspect of the superhero mindset, and Scarlet Spider, which those of us who have read the comics know he is the clone of Spider-Man. So anyway, the weather is good enough where I can prime these pieces outside, so that'll be the next step. And then when we come back, I'm going to be doing base coats. All right, so stay tuned, and I will be right back. All right, we're back, and we're going to be priming Gwenom and Scarlet Spider, but I'm also going to be battling these carpenter bees. They've been terrorizing my neighborhood for years. And it makes it very, very impossible to enjoy this deck at this time of the year. Alright, so these pieces are nice and small, so this should go quick. Unfortunately, the wind is blowing this primer right back at me. But luckily, not strong enough that it actually stays on me. Okay. Oops. And that's it. Alright, so I'm going to try to get back in the house without these bees following me, and then we're going to let the primer dry and get to base coats. So stay tuned and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, and the primer on Gwenom and Scarlet Spider have dried, and we're going to get started on some base coating. Alright, so let's get to it. Alright, I think we'll start with Gwenom first. Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever read the story that has Gwen Stacy as basically as Venom. I don't think I've ever seen it, but I don't doubt that it exists because they've been. It seems like Marvel Comics has been pretty obsessed with bringing Gwen Stacy to relevance, even though they killed her all those years ago. I think this is the case of where one writer decided to do something like that, and then other writers come in, whether it be many years later or maybe even, sometimes I guess even more, recent than that, but I think this is safe to say many years later, and they say, oh, that was a mistake. Yeah, we need that character back somehow. Hence why I usually say death is never eternal in the Marvel Universe. Okay. And so yeah, I've been mentioning that when I was doing the videos last week, I did do a cooking video where I made Big Ziti, and it does seem to be a hit. This video, it's actually getting more views than any of the other ones, so I hope that whoever is checking that out is also checking out other videos like this one. Okay, so anyway, because I don't want to turn this into a cooking channel, and but I do want to come up with more ideas to do on this channel, which that's one. And I think I've also been mentioning, I mentioned in the other video that I'm doing, today, that I'm going to be utilizing my science fiction writing and reading it on the channel. So there's that. Alright, so okay, the base coat on Gwen is on. We'll let that dry off. All right, so let's get Scarlet Spider. It's mostly red. So I'm thinking, because this is like basically a hoodie he's wearing, I'm trying to decide if I want to just put the red paint on the hoodie and then paint over it with the blue, or if I should just, you know, do it, just paint it blue, and, you know, just try to not go over the colors right now. I'm not, you know what? Let me try to do that. I mean, either way, I'm going to have to let the red paint dry anyway before I do anything else. Now, there is a trade series called the Complete Clone Saga. I started grabbing it. I was able to grab it off of people selling it on eBay. I really couldn't find it anywhere else. I still have 2 volumes to go. I haven't been really looking for them. I also, to be honest, I haven't really had the spare cash to do that. So I am hoping that maybe sometime soon I can resume that. Because it is a decent story. And what they did was they took every series that was made, even the ones made afterwards, they put it in what is supposed to be the chronological order, and that's how they've been printing it. So it also covers everything involved with Kane, which is another clone of Spider-Man. Alright, so seems like, alright, I got all this on. Nice base coating there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should do right now for either one, and I'm actually thinking no. I should just let that dry and then move on from there. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to let that paint dry on both Scarlet Spider and Gwenom, and when we come back, I'll, well, I know it's Scarlet Spider, there's a bit more that could be considered base coating, so I'm going to try to finish that, like especially the blue on the hoodie, and maybe even start painting the pillar that he's, excuse me, attached to it as webbing. And as far as Gwenom goes, you know, there's the what she's, you know, leaning on, but I'm gonna maybe try to get some of the details of her started, especially the white, because there's, you know, there's the spider design, and there's the teeth for the Venom symbiote and all that. So we'll get all, you know, let me let this paint dry, and I'll get started on all that as soon as I come back. All right, so stay tuned. I will be right back. Okay, and let that base coat on Gwenom and Scarlet Spider, give it some time to dry, and we're gonna get more done. Let's see how far I can get before I have to take another break. All right, so let's just get to it. Okay. So let's start with Scarlet Spider and get that blue hoodie painted. All right, let me just get myself a nice finely tipped brush. Now, one thing I am very much aware of with the Scarlet Spider is that there's the spider design on the front of the hoodie, and you know, it's obviously, you know, in black. I just don't know, when I do it, I just don't know how well it's going to show up against this blue color. or even if I'm going to get, or I'm not saying going to get, if I have a brush that is good enough to even get that design in there without it looking, you know, like I've just thrown black paint up against this thing. Okay, and I do see a few areas where I may have to do a little bit of touch up with the red, but you know, when I do Gwenom, I gotta, you know, as always with the Venom symbiote, there is the extra long tongue. So when I do that, I'll come back here and touch up the few little spots that Scarlet Spider needs to have touched up. Oh, okay, actually, that's pretty good. That's gone on pretty good. Let me make sure I got every angle. Whoops. Let's not drop this, because this was hard enough to put on, as you might imagine, just by looking at it. It's only attached to his base by webbing from his hand, so one arm is basically holding him on to everything. Alright. Okay. So, let's that should be all I need the blue paint for. Alright. Alright, so you know what? Let me do the red now. Yeah, might be getting close to needing another jar of red. Alright, so let's so this is a very strange way they did the Venom symbiote, because it's like the whole mouth of the symbiote, it just goes straight down the front of her. Alright. And of course they gotta make it, you know, go all, you know, all around this way, that way, and every other way in between. Alright. So it's kind of like very delicate work to try and get the paint on just this ginormous tongue. And I'm trying to move it to get to where it's close to other parts of the mini, and I'm basically moving it and extremely nervous about breaking it. And I haven't said this in a while, but some of these minis that I do, if anybody out there has a similar hobby, or I should say the same hobby, if you're painting these miniatures, I would love to see your finished product of whatever minis that you got. I would love to see it. If you want to put it in the chat. Oops, that was way too much. Okay. So yeah, if you want to put pictures of what you've done in the, you know, as far as mini painting wise in the chat, that's, you know, I would very much like to see anything that you have. If you want to show it off. Okay. That should be it for the red. I shouldn't have to go back to that. Alright, let me take out the gray color. Let's get some of these pillars that they're attached to. Alright.
eventually this very same color is going to be the base, so I'm not even going to worry about how much I get on it. Alright, so yeah, so anyway, the story that I'm going to be doing, I know I'm jumping around with, talking subjects, but, my mind is kind of all over the place at the moment. There's kind of, a lot going on in my life at the moment. So anyway, it is going to be a superhero story. It's, I think I had spoken about, the book before. It's the book I called Shadow Man, and I basically wanted it to be like the beginning of what I would try to make into like my own little MCU, like Marvel Cinematic Universe, but obviously it would be whatever, like it's from what I come up with. Although I do have other story ideas that I was interlinking together, that was originally going to be put on Patreon, but Patreon doesn't really seem to be taking off for us at the moment. And we're kind of at a loss to figure out what to do with it right now. John and I, we're going to have it, we're basically going to have that be basically exclusive stuff, and then we kind of went back on it to so we might address it again another time, but for now, because it wasn't really gathering much attention, so we're gonna put it on hold for the moment. But I figure with what I was working on, I don't want it to be on hold indefinitely, so I might actually use it at some point. Not sure how yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to use it on the channel, maybe have two different things going, or if I'm going to just put it out as a book. I just don't know yet. I don't know what to call it either. Alright, so let's see. So with Gwenom, it's basically a lot of work with the white paint that I'm going to need to do. And Scarlet Spider, it's basically white. Some metal color for his web shooters and his belt. And there's also something around his ankle that I could probably do the same color. And then, alright, so I'm going to take a break and let this paint dry. Alright, so yeah, like I said, I'm just going to take a break, let this paint dry. When I come back, I'm going to start, with more of the little details, and if I can, I'll do the base. Alright, so stay tuned, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I'm giving that paint on Gwenom and Scarlet Spider some time to dry, and we're going to see how much further I can get. If I can get enough done, and maybe do the base, we'll almost be finished. Alright, so let's get to it. Okay. Alright, so let's take out the white paint. And there we go. Okay, shed some light on the story, right? And let's... Okay. Alright, start off with the Scarlet Spider here, of course, and some of this gray paint may have needed a little bit more time to dry. But, sometimes I do get a little anxious because, there's nothing more thrilling than watching paint dry. If you know what I mean. So, don't want to let it go too long. Alright, well, this still came out pretty good. Alright, now. So now, with Gwenom, I basically just figured out that the inside over here is supposed to be red. So once I get the white on, I'll come back and get that as well. But so all right. One thing about these symbiote characters is a lot of this stuff can be very subtle and very easy to mess up. Alright, so let me get the try to rub off some of this paint first. Get the symbol on the back. Okay, sorry I'm getting quiet, but this actually needs quite a bit of concentration. And if I'm too busy yapping, and I won't be paying attention to what I'm doing, well, you get the picture. Alright, actually that went better. Actually went better than the original Venom piece that I did when I first started doing pieces for this game. You know, before I started doing the channel. Maybe one of these days I'll dig that one out and take a picture so I could show you all. Alright, now let me put the white away because I'm pretty much done with that. Let me take a red again. Alright. Alright, so yeah, this one is weird. It's almost like they did the entire mouth is like coming down her chest. Or maybe not her chest, but the front of her at least. Alrighty, well, not the best. These Venom characters are, in my opinion, hard to paint. I mean, if any of you out there have an easier time with them, please post what you got, what you've done in the chat. I would love to see it. Might even give me some inspiration to do better. Alright, so let's get flat aluminum out. Alright, so this is, dang it, this is basically for, here we go, the web shooters on the Scarlet Spider. Alright. So many little areas to paint. Okay, actually, let's see if I can just do it. Alright, this is going to be ever so delicate. Alright, almost done with that part at least. Alright, now, don't know what this thing around his ankles are, but we're going to get it. Okay. All right, whoops. All right, not too bad, not too bad. All right, so, you know what? I think we've gotten to the point where we can do the base and then take a break before we come back to do the wash. So. All right, so let's start with the Scarlet Spider, or as he calls himself in his civilian identity, Ben Riley. Okay. Whoop. And now finish off, Gwenom, get the base done. Then all we have left is the wash. All right. And I'm just hoping that in my future endeavors, I can come up with characters that can catch on, just like all my favorite Marvel characters. All right. Oops. Okay, put that away. And before I finish off, let me just see. Yeah, let me get the little touch-up I have to do on the top of Gwenom's head, because I think some paint that was on my thumb is now on the top of her head. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna let all that dry now. So let me just finish off here. Okay, we're going to let all that paint dry on these two, and when we come back, we're going to do the wash, and it's all finished. All right, so stay tuned, and I will be right back. Okay, welcome back, and that paint on the Gwenom and the Scarlet Spider are now dry, and all that's left is the wash. All right, so let's get to it. So, one thing I noticed was, for Scarlet Spider, I forgot to do the spider on the front of his hoodie there. But I'm curious to see if it'll show up when I do the wash. Oops, excuse me. When I do the wash. So. Not really. Oh well. Well, you know something? For the for the spider that's on the front, I'm not going to get too banana shape about it, because even if I did put the black paint on it, one, I don't know if I can get it. I don't know. I didn't know if pretty sure I wasn't going to be able to get it too fine on the detail, and also the black paint most likely would not have shown up well against the blue anyway. But you can kind of sort of see it. I'm going to do a little bit more on it. Alright. Okay. It still looks good though. Now, as far as Gwenom goes, I know the wash on this black paint isn't really going to show up too much. But I will say that it actually showed up good on the spider design on the back. Alright. Okay. And the wash is finished. Alright. Alright, so here we go. Here we go. Gwenom and Scarlet Spider. Ready to be deployed for whatever scenario John and I come up with. Alright, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me do this. Please like, subscribe, and share this video as much as possible. I am trying to reach as many people as I can. I'm currently at 25 subscribers. I'd like to make it to at least 30. Also, please go to Tabletop Jones Productions and do the same there. Like, subscribe, and share. We are trying to gather more support for the channels, and basically views and YouTube subscriptions are the best way to support us. And YouTube subscriptions cost you nothing, so there you go. Anyway, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching. You have a great day, and see you next time, where, who knows, might be painting more minis, might be talking about comics, might be doing cooking, or reading stories. All right, thank you very much, and I will see you again.